Welcome to the channel Naturally Care and Cure. This video covers nutrition basics. What is nutrient? What are different nutrients that a human body requires, classification of each types, their roles, food sources, some important considerations and much more. We are sure that this is the one video you will keep on coming back again and again to quickly find all basic nutritional information in one place. So let's dive in.
Diet refers to the total amount of food consumed by individuals. Nutrients are useful elements found in food that our body needs. They are required by our body for mainly three purposes: to obtain energy, grow and repair tissues and organs, and regulate and conduct various physiological processes occurring inside our body. Though we eat so many different types of food, useful nutrients those foods contain can be divided into 6 types. These nutrients can be further classified on the basis of amount our body needs them. On this basis, they are divided into 2 groups. Macronutrients, as the name suggests, are those that are required by our body in large quantities. Carbohydrate, protein, lipid and water fall into this group. On the other hand, micronutrients are those that are required in small quantities. Vitamin and mineral fall into this group. Now let's look each nutrient in detail.
You may have heard the word carb. It's a shorthand for carbohydrate. The main function of carbohydrate is to provide energy required by our body to carry out all kinds of internal and external activities. Carbohydrate can be mainly divided into 2 types, simple and complex. Simple carbohydrate can be further divided into 2 types, mono and disaccharide. Now here we need to understand a bit about the structure of carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is made up of, or building blocks of carbohydrate are saccharides. Saccharide is also called sugar. Now don't confuse the word sugar here with table sugar, though table sugar is also one among many different types of carbohydrate, as we will see shortly. Each saccharide is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms in the ratio of 1:2:1. As you can guess from the name, monosaccharide is made up single saccharide. Depending upon how constituent atom carbon, hydrogen and oxygen of saccharides are arranged, monosaccharides are of different types. 3 common saccharides found in food are glucose, fructose and the lactose. 2 saccharides can combine and form a disaccharide. Common disaccharides found in food are sucrose, lactose, and maltose. Sucrose is formed by combining glucose and fructose. Table sugar that we commonly use is an example of sucrose. Lactose is formed by combining glucose and galactose. It's mostly found in milk and dairy products. Maltose is formed by combining 2 glucose molecules. Complex carbohydrate is made up of polysaccharides. When many saccharides link together, they form a polysaccharide. Polysaccharides found in food that we consume can be further divided into 2 types, digestible and indigestible. Digestible polysaccharide are broken down to monosaccharide, mostly to glucose during digestion process in our body. Starch is one common type of digestible polysaccharide found in food. Now hope you understand when someone says starchy food. Starch themselves are made up of 2 types of polysaccharides, amylose and amylopectin. On the other hand, our body lacks enzymes to break down certain type of polysaccharides and are indigestible. These indigestible polysaccharides are commonly called dietary fiber or just fiber. When we say indigestible, don't get a wrong impression. Fiber has a very important role in gut and the overall human health. With so many different types of carbohydrate, you could be wondering what types should you eat. First thing, you should try to do is avoid simple carbohydrate as much as possible. Good news here is most sources of carbohydrates like grains, legumes and vegetables in their natural state contain a small amount or no simple carbohydrates. So as long as you are taking carbohydrate in their natural state, you do not need worry about simple carbohydrates. One exception is sweet-tasting fruits, like banana, mango, orange, which might contain large amount of simple carbohydrate fructose. You should therefore limit the amount of sweet-tasting fruits, especially if you are diabetic. You should try to eat complex carbohydrates. Though there is one caveat. They should be in their natural state or unrefined as much as possible. You should try to avoid refined or processed ones as much as you can. In simple language, you should eat that comes from farm, not from factory. Before we moved on to the next nutrient, lot of people have this concern. In the end, carbohydrates are essentially broken down to glucose and will raise blood sugar level and could cause diabetes. If you want to fully understand what's diabetes and what's the role of carbohydrate in it, we have made 2 very useful videos. We encourage you to watch them. Links are in the description.
Next macronutrients is protein. The main function of protein in a body is to provide building materials to a body. Everything in a body, nail, hair, skin, muscle, blood, enzyme, hormone, all are made up of protein. Protein is made up of, or building block of protein are amino acids. When a human ingests food containing protein like chicken, the digestive system breaks them into small particles, or units, called amino acids. Now the reverse happens, the human body combines these broken down individual amino acids and make different types of protein. You can think of amino acids like letters of alphabet. When you combine letters in various ways, you make different words. The same goes for amino acids. When you combine them in various ways, you make different types of proteins. Now these different types of proteins are combined to form all kinds of things in a human body. Human body requires 20 different types of amino acids. They can be divided into 2 groups, essential and non-essential. Essential amino acids cannot be made by the body. As a result, they must come from food. There are 9 essential amino acid human body needs. Non-essential means that our bodies can produce these amino acids if we do not get it from the food we eat. There are 11 non-essential amino acids. Obviously, the main sources of protein are meat and fish. In fact, they are 100% protein, leaving aside water content. Though plants are main source of carbohydrate, they do contain some amount of protein, generally green vegetables containing less amount, and cereals and pulses containing more. For vegetarian, one thing to note here, we mentioned earlier there are 9 types of essential amino acids. Meat and fish contain all of them, and hence they are also called a complete protein. Equals if you are vegetarian or vegan. One very important point for you. In case of plants leaving few like soya, quinoa, in case of others, single item does not contain all 9 essential amino acids in sufficient quantity. Therefore you should not rely on just one plant source to get protein, you need to combine different sources. For example, cereals generally lacks amino acid called lysine but has sufficient methionine. On the other hand, pulses lacks methionine but has sufficient lysine. So if you combine cereals and pulses in your diet, you should be fine. If you want to know much protein do you actually need, if you are a vegetarian/vegan, getting adequate protein could be challenging. To keep this video short, we've made a separate video on this topic. We encourage you to watch it, the link is in the description.
Third macronutrient that human body needs is lipid, more generally called fat. As you would know, lipids are insoluble in water. Lipids have been wrongly vilified for a very long time. Yet it has such an important role in a human body. First, it is used to store any excess energy from food as adipose tissue in a body. It is critical for cushioning vital organs, maintaining body temperature, regulating hormones, transmitting nerve impulses, and storing memory. It is also used to transport fat-soluble nutrients and phytochemicals within a body. Lipids are of 4 types: triglyceride, phospholipids, steroid, and wax. However, food we consume mostly contain triglycerides, so here we will discuss only about it. Triglycerides are of 2 types, saturated and unsaturated. To understand the meaning of saturated and unsaturated, we need to know a little bit about the structure of triglycerides. Triglycerides is made up of glycerol and 3 fatty acids. Fatty acids in turn is made up of acid group, hydrocarbon chain, methyl group. If all carbon atoms in a fatty acid is saturated with hydrogen atoms, there exists single bond between carbon atoms. This type of triglyceride is called saturated fat. Note saturated fats are solid at room temperature. Second type triglyceride is unsaturated ones. They have 1 or more fatty acids whose carbon atoms are not saturated with hydrogen atoms and double bond exists between carbon atoms. Note unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature. Unsaturated fat can be further classified into different types. There are different bases to classify them. If they are to be classified on the basis of how many double bonds exist in fatty acids, they can be divided into 2 types: monounsaturated, which has only 1 double bond, and polysaturated, which has 2 or more double bonds. Next, unsaturated fat can also be classified into different types depending upon nature of bonds. If hydrogen atoms are on the same side of carbon atom in a bond, such unsaturated fats are called cis fat, while if they are in the opposite direction, they are called trans fat. Third criteria to classify is where double bond exists. If double exists in 3rd position, it is called omega-3, if in 6th position, it is called omega-6, and if in 9th position, it called omega-9. With so many different type of lipids, the question could be what type should you take? Let's start with saturated fat. Just like lipids overall, saturated fats have been vilified long, relating it to many health problems, especially cardiovascular ones. Again, all these warrant a lengthy discussion, but we just want to say current researches do not confirm that to be the case, and saturated fat also should be part of a healthy diet. One type of fat you should absolutely avoid is trans fat. The good news is, fat from plant sources generally don't contain trans fat, and even animal sources only contain a very small amount. Trans fats are, in fact, mostly made in factory through a process called partial hydrogenation. 2 types of fats that a human body cannot synthesize and therefore must be taken from food sources are omega-3 and omega-6. Hence these 2 are also called essential fats. However, this does not mean you need to consume them in large amount. Also, currently we are taking far too much omega-6 and too little omega-3, so try to increase omega-3. The main sources of omega-3 are seafoods like salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, sardines. They are found few plant-based oils like flax and chia seed. Also note, omega-3 and 6 are polysaturated while omega-9 are monosaturated. Trans fats may be monosaturated or polysaturated. Want to know sources of different types of lipids? View this chart.
Fourth macronutrients is water. Unlike other nutrients, it does not provide any energy like in case of carbohydrate, nor it is used to build any new things in our body like in case of protein. Hence sometimes it is not listed under nutrients. However, still water has a very important role in human body. First, it accounts for about 60% of our body weight. Second, it plays an important role in so many physiological and chemical processes in our body. Recommended water intake is 6 to 8 glasses per day for adult human beings. Today everywhere we see people talking about benefits of adequate water intake. That's certainly a good thing, but too much of everything is bad. If you drink way too much water, it will put undue pressure on kidney, and in fact, your kidneys may not be able to get rid of the excess water. This causes sodium content of your blood to become too dilute. This is called hyponatremia, and it can be life-threatening. Actually, there are too many hypes, myths, and misinformation circulating regarding how much one should drink water. We've made a separate video on this topic. Please watch it, the link is in the description.
Nutrients we require in small quantities is called micronutrients. 2 micronutrients human body requires are vitamins and minerals. Vitamins has important roles in the human health. They are required by the body to perform all its essential functions properly. While their deficiency will result in manifestation of many diseases, example, vitamin in A will result in night blindness. Human requires 13 different types of vitamins. Vitamins are classified into 2 groups, fat and water-soluble. Water-soluble vitamins are. Fat-soluble vitamins are. As the name suggests, water-soluble vitamins dissolve easily in water. Any excess of these vitamins other than currently required by body are not stored and excreted. Hence you should take foods that contain these vitamins daily basis. On the other hand, fat-soluble vitamins, any excess other than currently required by body are stored. Hence your diet does not necessarily need to have food that contains these vitamins on daily basis. Just like vitamins, minerals also has important roles in the human health. Minerals are classified into 2 groups depending upon the amount needed by a human body. Minerals that are required in little more amount are called macrominerals. Minerals that are required in very minute amount are called microminerals. Again, when we think about minerals, we need to think about getting them from foods, not supplements, except for some rare conditions. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe the channel.